Welcome to the Planet MicroCap Showcase Virtual 2022. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and thank you for joining us. Now presenting at our event is Rick Schumacher. He's the president and CEO of Pressure BioSciences. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is PBIO on the OTCQB. And with that, Rick, take it away.
Thank you, Bob. And thanks, everybody, for joining us today. I'm very happy to be able to be here, as always. And I am happy to talk about the new Pressure BioSciences. So before we begin, we're a publicly traded company, so I must ask everybody to do their diligence before thinking about investing in my company or anybody's company. So Pressure BioSciences is a instrument company. We're located in Boston, Massachusetts, and all of our instrumentation is based upon the use of high pressure. Pressure is an amazing force of nature. It moves at the speed of sound. It's basically almost instantaneous. There's a number of things in the laboratory that can be controlled by pressure. Breaking open of cells, killing of viruses, extracting DNA, RNA, protein, and other macromolecules that a lot of us need to do to develop new vaccines, new drugs. So there's a number of applications that can be used by using high pressure, controlled high pressure. Our pressures go from about 1,000 pounds per square inch up to 45,000 pounds per square inch, or PSI. That's about 2.5 times the pressure at the bottom of the deepest part of the ocean. So think about this talk being at the bottom of the deepest part of the Pacific Rim, the Marianas Trench. That's the type of pressure we get instantaneously in the machines that we sell. I've got an incredible group of people that have been with me for a number of years. My background is very straightforward. I'm a serial entrepreneur, 13 years at Harvard Medical School as a scientist, mainly working in virology, hepatitis A, B, HIV, and other things. But I'm surrounded by some incredible people. Dr. Ed Ting, who is one of the smartest guys I've ever worked with, along with Dr. Lazarev, who also is with us. Dr. Lazarev is our chief science officer. Dr. Ting is our vice president of engineering. Ed Ting comes out of MIT with a PhD, but he also has been working in the high pressure field for most of his illustrious career. Dr. Lazarev is a enzymologist and an immunologist, and putting these two together, it's just fantastic. Working with proteins and peptides and enzymes under pressure has led to a number of amazing things you're about to see. We've also recently had John Hollister join us. John's got an amazing background with Amgen and many other companies in the area of sales and marketing. Jeff Peterson heads up our board. Please go to our website to learn more about my team, including my board. We have 30 issued patents, all in the area of using high pressure in applications, not just in the life sciences, but you're going to see in many other areas. Our first technology is called pressure cycling technology, where we turn pressure on and off to control molecules. Our second is called BaroFold technology, where we use pressure to work with proteins that are misfolded. And these proteins are meant to be many times for a new drug on the market, but it can't make it to the market because the protein misfolds while you're doing the production process. BaroFold and PCT have 23 patents between the two. We're not going to talk about them today. We've talked about them a lot in the past. And again, you can go to our website and see some videos and learn a lot about these two amazing technologies. Today, we're going to talk about the new Pressure BioSciences, and we're going to talk about Ultra Shear Technology. We call it UST, or Ultra Shear. Ultra Shear Technology is a method in which we've combined very high pressure, exceedingly high pressure, with very intense shearing. When we combine these two, a number of things can happen. We have 7 issued patents here. The most important thing is that we make oil go into water. That's the easiest way to describe Ultra Shear Technology. It can do a number of things, but the most important thing right now is it makes oil go into water. We'll talk about why that's important in just a minute. Let's talk about emulsions. Emulsions are where we put two liquids together, or 2 or more, that don't normally go together, like oil and water. And the problem with emulsions is that most of them in the world today are macro or micro emulsions, which means that the oil droplets are reasonably good size. And because of that, the stability is not there. The effective water solubility is not there, and the bioavailability is very poor. When we talk about bioavailability, we're talking about the active molecules that are inside the oil drops and how we get them out into our body. So if we're taking a mixture and it contains oil, and that oil contains active ingredients. Those active ingredients could be pharmaceuticals, they could be nutraceuticals, they could be vitamins and supplements, they could be things that we use for agrochemicals, and we want to get those out into the plant. That's called bioavailability, the ability to get the high percentage, hopefully, of the active ingredient out of the oil. The problem is that with microemulsions, we get very poor bioavailability, and the solution is to have what we call a nanoemulsion. Break the oil droplet down to about the size or even less than the size of a bacterium. That's a nanoemulsion. That allows for much better stability. It allows for the ability for the oil to be basically water soluble, and then it allows for much better bioavailability, which is what we want. You want to get that active ingredient out, as much as possible of that active ingredient out. So as I mentioned, there's 7 patents that are issued in the area of nano emulsification. Our method of Ultra Shear Technology has been used. We've been developing it now for about 5 to 6 years, and I'm very happy to announce that we've commercialized it. We'll be sending our first commercial product that was processed by Ultra Shear Technology in the first 10 days of December to the customer, and we hope to send the second shipment also in December, and then the first quarter is looking quite well for us. So let's take a look at, we're not doing much science here, but let's take a look at bioavailability of and how it goes up of active ingredients when we do the nano emulsification. So there's 4 charts here, and they talk about pharmaceuticals, prednisone, cosmeceuticals, or what's called retinol, nutraceuticals or curcumin, and agrochemicals or neem oil. So we've nano emulsified. We used our process, which is an instrument that uses ultra high pressure and very intense shearing to break the oil droplet from the macro size down to the nano size. So we're bringing it down to where it's smaller than a bacterium, which is about 100 nanometers. So we're bringing it smaller than 100 nanometers. So we're taking a droplet of oil and breaking it into 1 billion nano size droplets of oil. And we're spreading the active ingredient among those billion different oil droplets that are so small. The prednisone, you can see now there's only 2 things on the chart. There's the blue line, which goes down. That's showing the size of the oil droplet getting smaller every time it goes through the machine. Each time it goes through the machine, we break the oil droplets down, and until we get down to under 100. Usually we get between 40, 60, 80 nanometers. One of the advantages is that we can now sterile filter the material because it's smaller than a bacteria. We can put it through what we call a 0.2 micron filtration. The red line, which goes up, talks about the translucence. One of the advantages of nanoemulsions is that if you get a true nanoemulsion, it becomes clear. So you mix oil and water and you beat it up with a blender and it gets very opaque. And then as you put it through our system, the oil droplets get down below 100 nanometers, and the transmission or translucence of the material goes up greatly, so it becomes basically clear. So this slide shows prednisone, retinol, curcumin, and neem oil. All of them, we've broken the oil down to the nano level. These are all nano emulsions of oil and water, and these active ingredients become much more bioavailable when that is done. If we look at astaxanthin, astaxanthin is the most potent antioxidant on the face of the earth. It's about 6,000 times more potent than vitamin C. You can see on the left side, pre-UST, you can see through the microscope lots of the oil bubbles that are macro size. And you can also see that vial of astaxanthin, very thick. And you can see that if we let it settle out, it's going to settle out with the oil at the top and the water at the bottom. Once we put it through Ultra Shear Technology, you can see how clear it becomes. You can see that the oil droplets basically disappear. This means it's a nano emulsion. This means it's going to be highly stable. It should be stable for years, not months or days or hours. It should be effectively water soluble, so it should be able to get transported through the animal or the plant. And it should also, if we do bioavailability studies, science tells us it should be very, very bioavailable. This is looking at CBD, 3 different nanoemulsions of CBD. CBD is the non-psychoactive part that comes out of the plant. CBD itself, we've been able to nano-emulsify it so that it gets smaller and smaller in its size, below 100, below even, in this case, below even 50, in several cases, 50 nanometers, and the clarity goes up as we do this. So again, we're nano-emulsifying the oil so that it can go into water, it can mix with water, it can disappear in water, but it should become extremely bioavailable. Here's a picture of the pre and post on the left side, the conventional process of beating up oil, CBD oil and water. Again, CBD is coming out of the cannabis plant, in this case, the hemp plant, in an oil. And we beat it up and break it up to kind of make it go into water. But that's not going to be very bioavailable. If we put this in an edible, if we put this in a drink, if we put this in a tincture, it's not going to be, the CBD inside that oil is not going to come out very easily. So you're going to get 10, maybe 15% bioavailability. Whereas on the right side, you can see how clear it's become. That's the same material after it's passed 8 times through our system. And it becomes much better, much more bioavailable. Here you can actually see it over time. On the left, you can see pre-UST with the oil floating, and on the right side, after 6 passes through our instrument, you can actually see right through it. You can see the lettering behind it, so that in the chart on the right, the size of it goes down, so it's down around 30 nanometers. And on the blue on the chart, the transmission or translucence actually goes up. This is what happens when you put a non-nanoemulsion and a true nanoemulsion. Up top was so-called a nanoemulsion that we bought on Amazon. We put it in water. It should be water soluble. It isn't. You can see what happens. It turns into just a bunch of oil. And on the right side, what we're looking at is our nanoemulsion. We've been able to very effectively reduce 8 different molecules now to nanoemulsion size. So these are all in oil, and using our method, CBD, THC, astaxanthin, curcumin, algae oil, neem oil, prednisone, vitamin C, retinol, and retinate. These are 10 actual molecules that are inside oil, and we've been able to nano-emulsify the oil to break it down to very, very small droplets of oil containing these 10 different substances. Imagine that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of substances, vitamins and supplements and agrochemicals and many, many new pharmaceuticals that are oil-based. If we can break them down to nanoemulsion size, they should become much more stable, much more effectively water soluble, and much more bioavailable. The last few slides, we've made a big change in our business strategy. We are still selling products based upon pressure cycling technology, or PCT. We're still doing services to biopharma companies in the area of BaroFold, where we're helping them get their protein-based drugs to market by using pressure. But we're now putting about 90% of our effort into Ultra Shear Technology, or UST, Ultra Shear, sorry. So about 90%. We have 3 contracts that we signed that we think are worth between $3 and $5 million for us in 2023. We'll be shipping about $100,000 to $200,000 of pilots that we're charging for in the 4th quarter, in this quarter of 2022. We sell this in bulk. Our partners will then vial it, label it, and then distribute it across the country. All of our material are plant-based materials. We don't use any artificial or chemicals. We use all plant-based natural products to make our nano emulsions. We think we've got the best in class in the world. There are data that we believe will be published sometime in the next 3 months or 3 weeks that will help prove this, but we feel very strongly that our nano emulsions are as good, if not better, than anything that's on the market in the world actually today. And our first year sales of just the 3 contracts should be around 4 or 5 million. And we also have gone outside of the CBD for these 3 contracts to sign a deal with Dr. Dinesh of Dr. Dinesh Skin Science. We'll talk about that in just a second. Recent news, please look at the news that's come out. We talk about these 3 contracts, and we talk about Dr. Dinesh, and I'd like to end by talking about what we're doing in our collaboration with Dr. Dinesh. She is a skin care expert. She has been doing skincare for over 20 years. She's been doing 20 years actually in selling on QVC. We signed a deal with her on August 24th of this year. And she said in the press release that she could not be more excited at the prospect of teaming up with Pressure Bio and our BaroShear platform, because it's remarkable and a breakthrough in nanoemulsion effectiveness, and it's going to help her work and develop new generations of skin care. The second thing, in October 26th, I did a webinar with Dr. Dinesh, and she mentioned during that webinar, she was asked what's the one product she doesn't have she'd love to have. She said the most requested addition to her product line is to have an effective intervention for age-related hair loss or hair restoration. She believes that Ultra Shear, with its ability to get through the skin better than anything she's ever seen, will help her and us develop a hair loss prevention restoration product before the end of 2023. And finally, on December 4th, I had an email from Dr. Dinesh. She had sent us two substances that she uses in many of her cosmetics. One is a oil-based vitamin C, and the other is a type of retinoate, which makes the skin soft. It's an anti-inflammatory, and it also makes the skin much softer and reduces wrinkles. We nano-emulsified both. She uses them now. She has very good products. She's actually sold over $500 million of skincare over 20 years on QVC. And she mentioned to me in this email, I asked her, we just sent her the retinoate, and I said, how did it look? And she said, Rick, I've never, ever encountered such a profound tightening and wrinkle-reducing effect as I found with the PBI nano-emulsified retinoate. Even compared to my best already effective serums, the PBI product far exceeded anything that I've ever seen. Nanosizing with Ultra Shear really works. So she's very excited about working with us in 2022 and 2023. We've successfully nano-emulsified 2 of her main ingredients, a lipid-soluble vitamin C and the retinoate. She is looking forward to putting these into her products in the first quarter of 2023 and working with us on that. She's already asked us to make a number of liters of the material that she can use. And she's also looking forward to working with us in developing her long sought after hair restoration process that she wants to have out before the holiday season of 2023. Thank you very much for joining. We'll open it up now for questions.
All right. Thank you, Rick. My first question for you, and I'm going to be I'm asked this to every company presenting here today. We're in tough markets right now. What measures would you say the company is taking in order to mitigate some of the macroeconomic pressures that most microcaps are facing across the board?
We've pivoted. We started to pivot about 6 months ago into Ultra Shear. We're a small company. We have amazing technology. We're very technology rich. As mentioned, Bobby, we've got 30 issued patents, 15 in PCT, 8 in BaroFold, and 7, including 2 in the US in Ultra Shear. So we looked at this and said, where's the best pound for the buck here? And it's in Ultra Shear. So we've pivoted, and I've taken pretty much about 90%, at least 90% of the effort of the company and put it in Ultra Shear. This opens up whole new markets to us. We're talking about pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, cosmetics, agrochem, beverage, food and beverage, so that we're going to mitigate the issues. We've certainly been hit strong. Our stock has been hit extremely strong. It's about a third of the price where it was this time last year. And we think we're worth a lot more than the stock price, and we're going to prove it. And the way we're going to prove it is that we're going to go into a market, the cannabis market, starting with CBD, which has a big problem that many markets have. And that problem is that the material that's inside the oil that they're using, that material, that active ingredient doesn't get out very well. So the current many products, vast majority, in my opinion, of products that are coming from the CBD market right now, the CBD is not getting out of the oil, and we're excreting the oil with a lot of active ingredient in it. We're going to solve that problem. We've proven that we can solve that problem. We have academic data, we have our own data that proves that we can break oil down to very nano size, and then it becomes very stable and very easy to pull out, and therefore it becomes very bioactive. So we're mitigating the issues by going into these areas that we've been working on for 6 years, but commercializing now. I'm very proud to say, Bobby, very proud to say that we announced commercialization in May of this year, and here it is in December, and we are commercializing. We'll be shipping our first product within the next 7 to 10 days. It's already made. We're just waiting for quality control to release it, and then we'll be making our second batch of product that we hope to ship this month also. And next year is going to be a fantastic year for us, we believe, because we've already got orders. We've already got Dr. Dinesh, who has mentioned that she thinks that within this year, we'll not only be able to put some nano emulsified product into her products, particularly the vitamin C and the retinol, but also she and we are going to be working on this hair restoration, and we hope to have it ready by the end of 2023.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about the commercialization side of things right now. So I want to make sure everyone is totally clear. What exactly is it that the product that you're selling, and then now shipping as well?
It's a good question. We're not vialing and selling the vials. We're starting in CBD, which is non-psychoactive, and we are taking CBD oil that we purchase commercially, that most people just take and kind of clean up and use it in their products. And we're taking it and putting it through our instrument, and we're taking that oil and turning it into a nano emulsion. So you don't even know there's oil, and when you look at it, you think it's just clear water. No, there's oil on it that contains CBD. We are then making liters of this material, and we're shipping the liters of CBD oil that's nano emulsified to the final distributor, who is having us send it to their vialer and labeler. And then they will vial it and label it, and then they'll sell it through their means. Many of these people have their own websites that are very active, and they also have distribution agreements across the country. So we're selling bulk material in CBD, and then the final material will be getting out. We've asked that one of the most intense marketing campaigns successful I've ever seen in my lifetime was Intel Inside. I mean, I found myself asking, is there Intel inside, when I was buying a laptop? And so we've asked them to put on the label UST processed, because we don't think it's a real nanoemulsion if it hasn't been processed by Ultra Shear Technology. This is an amazing technology. It took us 6 years and probably $15 million to develop, but it has applications across so many industries that you've known me for a lot of years, but you've never known me as excited as I am today as we release our first UST processed product.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about this basically nano emulsified CBD. What makes it unique and different than some of the CBD you find in just your everyday products? You kind of alluded to it a little bit, but I mean, is there any actual effect when you consume it that makes it different when it's now nano emulsified?
So I give an example to people. Imagine you're taking a 250 milligram tablets to ease your pain, but you're only getting 50 milligrams out of each tablet. In my case, my pain would not end. I need 250 milligrams to take care of when I have a bad headache, like Excedrin. You're not getting out of today's market and many of the products that people are buying. They're not getting very much of the active ingredient out. And this can be a supplement like curcumin or astaxanthin or vitamin D3. You're not getting out. Imagine you're taking this every night to supplement your body and you're getting 5, 10, 15% of that active ingredient out. We change it so that you get a vast amount out, maybe 70, 80, maybe even 90% out. And we do it by simple physics. We break the oil drop into a billion nano-sized droplets. We spread that active ingredient among that billion tiny nano little droplets of oil. And when that gets into the gut, your body, because of what we call surface area, there's so much surface area, your body's able to reach in and grab that active ingredient out very quickly. So you've gone from tens of millions of molecules in a drop of oil to just a handful of molecules in a nano-sized droplet of oil, and your body's able to absorb it out. And we have data, and we've asked some people in the academic community to study it and publish it. And we have data, and we're very convinced that the bioavailability of the active ingredient used after our nanoemulsification goes up 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 times what it was prior to the Ultra Shear.
Very good. All right. Well, you've already alluded to my next question a little bit, but I figured we get the full wrap. From what you can tell us, now looking forward into 2023, what would you say are the main value catalysts that you want folks to pay attention to here?
Pay attention to Ultra Shear Technology. We're doing okay with BaroFold. We're doing okay with pressure cycling technology. They're tremendous technologies, and they are commercialized, and we're working with some multi-billion-dollar companies. We had the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar international company in my offices about a month ago, because the nano-emulsified material we made for them, they're in the supplement business, was something they had never really seen before. So this gentleman was traveling through the U.S. and wasn't expecting to stop, and he called and said, "May I stop by and see you?" Came in for a 1-hour meeting, stayed 2.5 hours. And we're working closely with this group. We're also working with a number of groups that are in the area of making protein drugs and getting them to market. So we haven't dropped those. We haven't let those go. We're still working, and we still think sales will keep moving up in those areas. But Ultra Shear Technology has an amazing potential for us. The list is so long. We're starting with CBD. We will work eventually with groups in THC. In THC, one of the biggest problems in THC is the long time it takes for onset of THC to happen. And when you're talking about medicinal use of it, you have to wait 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes for it to happen, and you're not feeling well at all. That seems like a lifetime. If we can make it more bioavailable, it should be the onset of THC should happen in minutes, not in an hour. CBD, we've had 40 samples. I've sent 40 samples around to friends and family, but mainly to investors, potential investors, and to potential customers. And 39 of the 40 have said it's the best they've ever seen by far. Best they've ever seen by far. So we're very excited about it. So watch out for Ultra Shear Technology. Watch when we sign up new contracts. Watch what we do with Dr. Dinesh. She sold $500 million of skincare on QVC. She's also in Costco now. She has her own website. She's on Amazon. And she wants to nano-emulsify some of her best products to make them even better. She's not shy at all, saying, "I've got some of the best products in the country, if not the world, but I can make them better, Rick, with your technology." And look for progress in the hair restoration. She's got 500,000 customers. 500,000 customers. And this is the one product that they've always asked for, is hair restoration. It's a terrible, terrible thing with women in particular. And she's been really wanting to have this product. So keep an eye on us in the area of Ultra Shear Technology across the board.
Very good. Well, Rick, thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you also for answering a few of my questions here today. To everybody watching and engaging, thank you as well, and have a great rest of your event. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Bobby. Thanks.